Okay, greetings and welcome to the Eccentric Perspective. I am your host, Blake Wally, and today is Thursday, April 17th of 2025, and I will be here for the next 60 minutes or so. I think we're going to keep it tight today, as it's Easter weekend is upon us. There are some interesting stories going on, but nothing I'm that excited to cover, but it has to get done. This is what's going on. So we'll dig into that. Here's the thumbnail for today. I will just call it Victims and Vaccinations because I have some weird issue with alliterations, and that's going to be on the topics list. We got several potential victims. So I guess it does fit. Of course, if you guys want to switch gears, cover a different topic, or maybe there's something I missed, feel free to drop something in the chat room. We'll incorporate your thoughts into the show. And let's get to the headlines. So again, we'll try to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to aim for 60 minutes or less. I've only got 5 topics. So we have, with all the delightful Easter scenery, the festivities. All right, so we've got the Karmelo Anthony family. Are they the actual victims? And have Democrats overplayed their hand with Abrego Garcia, Letitia James, New York AG? Does she deserve prison for mortgage fraud? And Big Pharma, are they scared of RFK's autism investigation? And Attorney General Bondi, was she never intended to release the Epstein lists? Or perhaps the Epstein info? I don't know. Well, those are that's what I've got so far. Again, something I missed, throw something in the chat. Or just troll me mercilessly. Whatever. It's all good. Okay, well, let's run an intro, and I'll be back on the other side to dig into the headline story. Here we go. Start. All right, and we're back. So we'll jump in to the top story. A lot of breaking information. As much as I tried to avoid this story falling into the trap last week, this is really growing some legs. It's getting out of hand at this point. Started out as a terrible tragedy with a couple of high school students, one stabbing the other one to death, seemingly needlessly. Of course, it was a black on white crime, which the media tends to avoid those things. I don't want to get sucked into the trap, but this one's getting out of control, not looking good. And now the family of the murderer, perhaps, or maybe he's in self-defense. No, they are saying that they themselves are now the victims. Is that true? Well, it's not going to be fun when your son stabs somebody to death. You're going to go through personal living hell, as you're going to have outrage from people. And of course, the media and so many other things. So the family has moved out of whatever home they were in and now have upgraded. It's kind of, I guess it's unclear whether they buy a brand new home for like $400,000 or are they just renting one. They got to give some, the kid and the family some security. absolutely, regardless of where you stand on this. But has it gone a little over the top with some of their expenses? That appears to perhaps be the case. Well, we can hear from the mother is now speaking out, claims her family are the victims after their son stabbed Austin Metcalf to death, saying that her husband had to take a leave of absence. Yes, well, what are you going to just go back to your regular job, deal with your coworkers, media jackals, and perhaps just normal people that are outraged and perhaps want to pay you a visit. That's not justified. However, this is kind of what happens. These are the consequences of the actions, even though it's technically your kid. This is just a mess all around, but we're going to have to dig in and unpack it. So this father, I guess he's afraid of what may happen to our family, and his mental health is deteriorating day by day. Yeah, that can't be any fun. So yeah, there is a part where I have sympathy, but are they the victims? I don't know. Perhaps that's out of context. Let's dig into the clip.
In wake of this tragic incident,
well, if I can get any volume out of it.
Our family
has been working. Otherwise, I've got my configuration messed up. Maybe it's on my end. Okay, let's try this again.
Under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming.
Yeah, that's kind of why I tried to stay away from this, Rush, because it's very heated, emotional. People can overreact very quickly. They say sometimes you got to wait 72 hours. And I don't know. I don't know if there's just any way to spin this. It's just awful. But it happened, and we're just going to have to deal with this painful reality.
The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community.
Your son stabbed somebody to death at a track meet in the middle of the day. Wasn't they were out drunk? Things got out of control. No, it's, I don't know. I don't want to, you don't want to be jumping to conclusions that the parents are the bad people and they shouldn't be retaliated against. It's hard to get everybody to calm down and wait for the facts, though. That's just not the way human nature works, unfortunately.
Everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because...
Yeah, and that's not good. I mean, this is what happened with, the Trayvon Martin and so many other things, is that, let's focus on the person that attacked and not going after his family is probably off limits, or at least should be. But unfortunately, they're not really doing themselves a lot of favors. But we'll get into that.
Because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day.
Well, what do you think? How do you think the father of the victim feels? At least you've still got your son. You may be going to jail for a very long time, but at least he's still alive. And he made that decision. You could almost say he even kind of goaded Metcalf into attacking him so that he could retaliate. And then rather than just, making... Not that you should ever have a knife in a situation like that, but, you could have stabbed him in the arm. Oh, you went straight at his heart? Not good. And maybe it stems from bad parenting. Maybe it's he's just out of control and the parents can't control everything. But you're not even apologizing to the family. Although, to be fair, I've only seen this particular parts of this video. That's as much as I've actually seen. But I'm not seeing anything about, oh my God, what about the victim's family? So it seems to be about them.
Endured death threats. My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her.
Okay, well, that is awful. And now they've got security and a new house. These are the things. There's nothing good about people that are overreacting and going after the family. That should be off limits. But that's just the human nature of these cases. This is a very heated one. This is a really bad, ugly one. And it's kind of one of the reasons I just don't even want to cover stuff like this. But it's in the news. It's newsworthy. It's a hot topic. And we're all going to just have to collectively find our way through this. But we'll move on here because I don't really want to continue on this one particular clip. But now we've got Team Karmelo is funded by Soros groups. Yes, this whole thing is now being politicized. And you've got this creepy Hungarian billionaire who seems to love to meddle in American politics, divide and conquer, undermine the country. Perhaps he's now funding this. He thrives on this sort of order out of chaos stuff. So 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony stands accused of murder in the first degree after he fatally stabbed 17-year-old rival opponent. I don't know if they actually knew each other. They were just in rival high schools at a track meet. And since getting his bond reduced, Anthony is reportedly living in a lavish house in a Texas gated community, and that is fine. You gotta protect them. Now, the Help Karmelo official fund, so yes, there's a fundraiser, raised more than $450,000, so nearly $500,000, as though he's a victim. That's what's crazy. This is also extraordinarily disturbing. So somebody killed another man, and they're the ones getting the money? You would think it'd be the other way around, but it's not. And I covered an article on Tuesday talking about how this would be the next kind of the OJ trial of this generation. Even though you've got somebody who's obviously guilty, but I guess his community or his fans want him to get off of it simply because for selfish reasons, I guess. Doesn't seem to make sense, but perhaps I'm misunderstood. I would be curious to hear from people that are donating money to this cause and why. What do we know about Karmelo Anthony that somehow makes him a hero and a victim in this case? So anyway, they've prompted a report on suspicious donations because that seems unlikely that it's just all grassroots people. And of course, turns out that left-wing political interests are interceding in the case. Now, Dominique Alexander, a supposed minister, is the founder and president of the Next Generation Action Network. It's a black activist group based in Dallas, Texas. And they were the ones who escorted Anthony out of jail when he was released on bond. And you've got Dominique Alexander photographed with Anthony after the accused murderer was returned home. And they are front and center on this whole, I guess, PR campaign with Team Karmelo, whipping up support for his defense as racial tensions elevate the case into the national spotlight. And there he is. So this guy, you see Karmelo on the left. So he stabbed somebody, not necessarily in self-defense, in broad daylight at a school track meet. And now he's the victim. He's home now. He's out of jail, and he's being protected. He deserves security, no doubt. Let's let the trial play out. But they reduced the bail and got him. I don't know. This is just a mess all around. I don't know how to spin this. But it's becoming, the racial conflict and Dominique Alexander, a Kamala Harris supporter. So now they're going to try to turn, again, it's the sort of order out of chaos. Get MAGA and the leftists or the BLM against each other when I guess everyone loses. Can't just have, it's always got to be about emotional reactions, not just truth, logic, and facts. But anyway, so perhaps this is being funded by George Soros. Certainly would fit the pattern of things he's done in the past. And they're raising lots of money. You got the free Mellow t-shirts, and fundraisers spark outrage as the families promotes their campaign from now a $900,000 gated home. So they were saying he bought it, but I don't know if that's true. They certainly have the money to buy a house if they needed to. But they're also, they bought a big vehicle too. He's got like a brand new car. So they're also being criticized because they're not seeming to use their, it's got to use the money on legal expenses, but then they're buying themselves a house and a Cadillac Escalade, allegedly. We'll get into that. So not good. Here's a tweet here from Jordan Conradson. Says, if I recall, the family did not want this to be politicized and was actually praying for Karmelo's family after their son murdered Austin Metcalf. That is true. That is what happened. The father handled it, I guess, about as well as you could. Speaking out, let's let things settle here. This is the horrible tragedy. Let's not jump to conclusions. But now they're politicizing everything. And again, it seems like the leftists are joining the wrong side of history, potentially. Because, what possibly could have Austin Metcalf done that was so terrible that he deserved to be stabbed to death? Is there any way? I mean, even if he would have just came out guns blazing with just horrible racial attacks, would that still justify getting stabbed in the heart to death? I don't think there's any way you can spin this. Did he pull the knife first? Did he threaten him? Why? I just, there can only be, I don't know, unless you can prove that this is self-defense. But I think they're going to have a very tough case based on anything I've seen so far, but I could be wrong. But here's Karmelo Anthony presser, and they actually attacked Austin Metcalf's dad, who was very nice. And he says it's disrespectful of him coming here. Really? His son was murdered by your client. So why shouldn't he be allowed to come there? Here we go.
And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who was not invited.
What the fuck are you speaking about character? Your client stabbed a kid, a 17-year-old high school student, in the heart.
He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family, but he did it.
And did he show up with a megaphone? What did he do? He started screaming, my son was murdered by your client. What really went out of hand? I don't know. These people are lost souls. And
so I say to people, actions speak louder than words. Okay?
This guy is a grifting sack of shit who is benefiting from this. He is stirring up shit and getting lots of money, no doubt, for his role here. He is just a shameless racial grifter hustler.
What he has failed into, is the political operatives that want to make this thing a political thing of hate, yet bigotry, and yet racism.
Sounds like projection to me.
We have conservative operatives that have been posting nonstop about this case. And
Yeah, as they should. People are outraged. They deserve to be outraged. And they're calling you out for being a grifter race hustler. Because you are. You're over the target, and now you're pretending to be the victim here. So let's take a look. Yeah, the stabber's family just called the cops to kick out the stabbing victim's family. This is it. Dallas police arrived, and Austin Metcalf's father is leaving the news conference where Karmelo Anthony's parents are scheduled to speak. Well, I guess there's really not clear audio of this, but it's a major media event. And why isn't he allowed? Why isn't the victim's father allowed to be there? It's a good question. Alex Stringer saying, did he say that he respects the dignity of life while holding a press conference for a murderer? Yeah, blatant hypocrisy. Dominique Alexander, opening up by chastising the father of Austin Metcalf for attending the public press conference. Yeah, a public press conference, and was forced to leave. And it's a disrespect to the dignity of his son. Okay, well, we already ran that clip. And here's another tweet from Sarah Fields saying that Austin's father here, Jeff, is refusing to leave the public press conference, as he should. So the felon and advocate, Dominique Alexander, well, he's a felon too. Shouldn't be a surprise there. Imagine my shock that Dominique Alexander has a criminal record. But I don't know. So I'll stop there. So with Next Generation Action Network has stated that he will not start the press conference unless the father of Austin Metcalf leaves. You fucking coward. So according to internal sources, his presence is not a violation of a court order. Right. So he should be allowed to stay there. Okay, here's another tweet here from Sarah. Karmelo, as a 17-year-old, is learning that when you kill in anger, you get a new house, a new car, a full security team, and a hero status. No wonder he stabbed someone. His family is celebrating him. There is no accountability. This is where we're at in 2025. Yeah, it's very sad. You know, OJ was obvious that he killed Nicole Brown. You could say, he killed her, I understand. Right, as the great Chris Rock bit. Okay, side issue. You got Michael Brown, St. Louis. They said he was a gentle giant going after a white cop. They burned down Kenosha for, Jacob Blake, who was a lifelong criminal. So Kyle Rittenhouse rose to prominence out of that. But he was actually, when he shot people, it was in self-defense. They put him in jail. It's the double standard there for protecting his community and protecting himself. Karmelo just basically goaded the guy into stabbing him, or goaded him into trying to assault him, made put his hands on him. I don't know. Again, how does that justify a stabbing? And just direct to the heart. Not a, hey, pull the knife, here we go, don't come a step further. No, it's like you wanted to do it, but now he's a hero. Or the Trayvon Martin. I mean, there are some legitimate, victims here, like Philandro Castile. He got shot by the cops in Minnesota. That was a terrible story. He was a good guy. But they are just parading up these heroes who are criminals. And of course, we have St. George Floyd and all of his criminal history. He's a hero. Not saying that Derek Chauvin didn't do something bad. That was terrible, but we're not going to get too far into the weeds with that one. Yeah, we've got a really broken, twisted culture here. And they're trying to get a murderer off the hook. Here, I can't confirm this, but it is a tweet, and I did hear that he had bought a new vehicle. Somebody said it is a Cadillac Escalade worth more than $150,000. I don't know about that. So whether he bought a car, bought a house, he might be renting the house, and that's fine. He's got to get into a secure place for his family. Whether he's going to murder her or not, he's certainly got a lot of money to buy him some time. But I mean, if you're using all your legal expenses on these luxury items, then you're really hurting your cause. Well, at least for sane people. But we've lost our sanity. It's a very strange world we live in. And a side issue, but we've got a police releasing body cam footage of a Black community leader shot after stealing a police car and attacking an officer. This was up in Ohio and Pennsylvania. And not to just, I mean, it's a related thing. Because now you've got this prominent Black community leader. But it's good that there's body cams. Because if there weren't body cams, then they would certainly be calling this guy a hero who was killed for no reason by the police. But it turns out, yeah, he actually went totally nuts. Viciously assaulted an officer, stole a state trooper's vehicle, and then crashed, and then was shot later. Here we go. Let's run a quick clip.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus, watch out. In the name of Jesus, watch out. Watch out, get hurt. You're going to get hurt. In the name of Jesus, stop, bitch.
Hey,
Jesus, Lord, bow down.
Get hurt.
Jesus, Lord, bow down. Don't touch me or you're going to die. Next time you touch me, you're going to die. Next time you touch me, you're going to die.
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. 5-10, Cleveland. Send me another unit. He's on foot, going down the berm. Hey, you gotta go down!
You ain't That's Jesus, bitch! That's Jesus, bitch! Bitch! That's Jesus!
Yes.
Oh!
Get down on the ground!
Jesus!
This guy is high. I don't know what he's on, man. PCP or something, but it seems like the taser isn't even phasing him. And then, unfortunately, he was able to manhandle this cop and take his car. But again, without the body cam footage, then the Black community wouldn't accept this. And I understand why. But then it would be portraying this cop as, this must have been a racial attack to kill a brave community leader. But yeah, it's unfortunate the way they're framing this stuff. And I'm very disappointed with people that are, trying to portray Karmelo Anthony as some kind of a hero, as though two wrongs make a right. But anyway, that's about as much as I want to get into on this particular subject. And hey, Rick Norman in the house. Good to see you, buddy. And what do we got? This week, 3 liberal judges have lowered the bail on, several murder suspects trying to bait. It's this weird double standard going on. Trying to bait a White House response to affect Trump. Yeah, they always want to spin that. He practiced that stabbing move, I guarantee. He's had knife training for combat. You can't do that direct first time. Yeah, you got to have some serious anger and intent. First, you're smuggling a knife to a high school track meet, and it's like you wanted to use it. You hope that someday someone's going to piss you off and disrespect you. You're going to get bullied, and then you're going to be the hero, and you're going to go and you're going to show them who not to mess with. But yeah, it's again, it's one thing to pull the knife out and say, don't step another, don't take another step towards me. Leave me alone. Sorry, I'm in the wrong area. I'll leave. But then you just reach for the knife and I mean, wow. That's pretty bad. And yeah, you're probably right, Rick. You got to have some kind of a training or intent and some deep anger issues to do that direct the first time and just go right for the heart. So something is terribly wrong with everything about this. And I'm embarrassed to be an American. I don't know what to say. This is so, not an American, just as a human being. How have we lost? And we can't just talk about, facts and reality. It's got these emotionally charged events. And letting off I understand that there's plenty of Black people that have been unfairly treated by, white people in authority or what have you, or they're the victims of racism. I get that. But you don't get the moral high ground when just a random Black person kills an innocent white man. And then you're going to go fund them, help them with their legal expenses, defend them on social media. I don't understand it. I'm at a loss. I don't get it anymore. This weird spiritual simulation of sorts seems to be a failed experiment. I'm wondering if we're ever going to get through this very challenging era of our civilization as we stumble through our evolution collectively. All right. Well, we've got another potential victim. Move on to the second story of Democrats. Have they overplayed their hand with Abrego Garcia? Well, let's take a look. And, being very intellectually honest about this, I was willing to think that Abrego Garcia was misidentified. Maybe he was a victim in this case. The Trump administration admitted that there was an administrative error which allowed Abrego Garcia to be sent to this El Salvador prison, the CCOT. And maybe they were wrong and they could correct that mistake. And if he's an innocent man, then they could at least let him out of the prison. Whether he comes back to America is unclear. We're not going down that into the weeds on that one again. But it turns out that there was more to it. And I wasn't quite sure if he was an MS-13 gang member either. Perhaps he was misidentified. But no, it turns out that he was a bad guy. So, okay, we'll correct the record here. I'm not saying he deserves to stay in the CCOT with the ultimate terror, but maybe he does. As it turns out, and he's a wife beater. Okay, that's not a huge issue, some domestic assault. But maybe he was involved in human trafficking. Actually, it looks like he certainly was. So this innocent dad from Maryland, he's just a good guy trying to save, help his family and live a better life. Maybe he got caught up with MS-13 when he was younger and he fled to America. He has applied for asylum and he was a respectable man in the community and he was innocent and perhaps misidentified, sent away, and he didn't deserve it. But now it turns out that he's not only a wife beater, perhaps involved in human trafficking, and was still affiliated with MS-13 to some extent. He's not all tatted up, maybe not a murderer per se, but you're involved in human smuggling. That's pretty bad. There's no way to spin that your way out of that. But it looks like the Biden administration might have ordered his release. They didn't care. These are potential. He's in a van full of potential voters, man. That's more important than whether they're here legally or not. Yeah, Rick Normal. Yeah, we're censored now. If the rappers of 90 years singing about violence and murdered cops had been censored, we wouldn't be in this mess. Yeah, that's a weird subculture, and perhaps maybe the black community was meddled with, and that they were promoting this violence and drug culture music, which I admit I did enjoy through the '90s. But yes, it's really broken up the community. They've lost themselves. It's unfortunate, and maybe we wouldn't be in this mess. You're absolutely right. And there was like trying to think now. I'm gonna have to go back because there's a movie about that. But yeah, there was the idea that a lot of black people were perhaps unfairly targeted by the cops. There was violence, and there was the Rodney King thing, but that was another one where they rushed to judgment. Rodney King was also a bad dude. He was driving 90 miles an hour in a residential area, putting people in danger. Probably deserved to get his ass kicked by the cops, and then people started freaking out. But there was a lot of tension at those times. But there's got to be a better way to channel that anger and support the right people. And they don't seem to be doing a very good job of that. They're not doing it all. It seems like nothing's changed. It's only getting much worse. Okay. Well, we'll move on. So, not satire. Well, did I finish this? I didn't even finish this article here. So Biden's FBI ordered this release of Abrego Garcia. So this is the damning information regarding the gangster. He was adored by Democrats and the corporate media. And now a news outlet has uncovered perhaps the most infuriating news yet regarding the individual. So the Tennessee Star, that's in my backyard now, broke an explosive story yesterday revealing that Karmelo Abrego Garcia was allegedly accused of engaging in human trafficking. He was pulled over by the Tennessee Highway Patrol back in December of 2022 and detained. And the cop alleged that the gangster was transporting 7 passengers from Texas to Maryland. So this will lead to the idea that he was still in MS-13. He was still affiliated and perhaps was being sent on an assignment. This wonderful Maryland dad had to take a little road trip down to Nashville and pick up some. Did he go to Texas? I don't know. He got pulled over in Tennessee. And this is weird. Yeah, he apparently did not have a valid driver's license. And the officer took Abrego Garcia into custody. And the Tennessee Highway Patrol contacted the FBI asking what to do. But Joe Biden's FBI, unsurprisingly, ordered them to let him walk free because they valued violent illegals more than innocent Americans. And then the Highway Patrol complied. So get that. I mean, this should have been a big bust. You just found, that was the problem with the Biden administration. They were totally okay with having an open border and getting in, smuggling illegal aliens in, however way they could do it. And if you got caught smuggling, apparently the FBI didn't care. Just let them go. Bring them to Maryland and get them into the system, because I guess Maryland's a little more loose on their policy. They'll give illegal aliens driver's licenses, even though his wasn't valid. So that's pretty shocking stuff. So they should probably retaliate against the Biden's FBI for that. But it says the news gets even worse. It turns out not only was Abrego Garcia likely trafficking human beings, but he was reportedly on a terrorist watch list at that time too. So he stupidly got pulled over, didn't have a valid driver's license, had 7 passengers. They didn't have any luggage, so that was the clear red flag that they weren't just on vacation, that they were being smuggled in. And then you find out, he's on a terrorist watch list. And then that should have been it. In normal times, he would have been apprehended, sent to the FBI. He'd probably be in jail right now before he ever got sent to El Salvador. And all of those people would have been deported. But not under Biden's watch. They let them all go. So that's bad. That's scandalous. And this destroys the Democrat narrative about what a great hero this guy was. Innocent man, smuggled out, sent to CCOT. Bad news. Yeah, Rick, many people of all races have been assaulted by the police. They certainly can. Hey, Deb, great to see you too. It's been a while. I think you've chimed in a few times, but I don't see your comments. So it's good to see you there on X because for some reason they don't show up on YouTube. So I don't know if you're actually there or not, but always great to have you in the chat room. This big Easter weekend show. Okay, well, what else do we have? Not satire. Democrat senator denied access to deported MS-13 suspect in El Salvador prison during the ridiculous PR stunt to protest Trump. So yeah, they really jump. Which just leads to my headlines. The Democrats overplayed their hand with Abrego Garcia. It was a big risk reward. If they could have proved that he was innocent and that he was here the right way under asylum and that he wasn't a gang member and that it would look terrible for the Trump administration to have made an administrative error sending an innocent man to a supermax prison, that would have been great for them and it would have been embarrassing. But this is really blown up in their faces spectacularly. And even I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. Hey, innocent man, regardless, let him out. So they tried, and then they dug in, and then they confirmed everything that they knew, and it got so much worse as this Tennessee story has broken. Now what are they doing? And so this senator tried to go down to go speak to him, like they're going to get him out of there. Even if they wanted to, they can't because he's an El Salvadorian citizen, not Maryland. He would be here illegally, but just under asylum. So anyway, he's starting not to look very innocent at all anymore. Okay, well, here it is. Here's Senator Chris Van Hollen giving up, announced he didn't even manage to get a phone call with the gang member. I don't think anybody in that CCOT prison gets phone calls. I think everybody that's in there is basically there for life. So hopefully there's no innocent men. They sure don't look in, as they're all look like tatted up gang members. They really cleaned up El Salvador, which used to be an absolute hellhole. Now the hellhole's inside that militarized, tyrannical prison where they spend, I think, 23 and a half hours a day in their cells. And they're all just like crammed in there. No utensils, no mattresses. It's does not look like much fun. But yeah, that's for the hardcore murderers. Anyway, so Chris Van Hollen, which, we obviously, that'd be terrible if an innocent man was in there, but he doesn't look innocent anymore. Everything changed yesterday. Now the Democrats have really looking stupid for that. You had Cory Booker. I don't know if he's still planning to go down there, and he was, but probably not anymore. And this senator who didn't seem to care about the victims that were in his own state, victims from illegal immigrants that shouldn't have been there, and he's trying to get an illegal immigrant out of a foreign prison. So stupid. Here you go. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt berating the media for defending this MS-13 affiliated illegal alien. You'd think we deported a candidate for Father of the Year. Run a clip.
The Democrat and media outrage over the deportation of Abrego Garcia, an MS-13 El Salvadorian illegal alien criminal who is hiding in Maryland, has been nothing short of despicable. Based on the sensationalism of many of the people in this room, you would think we deported a candidate for Father of the Year. That's because, unfortunately, many in this country care more about this quote-unquote Maryland father, a legal alien MS-13 gang member, than a Maryland mother and an American citizen who was brutally murdered at the hands of a different illegal alien. Of course, I am referring to Rachel Morin. And if you didn't see, yesterday, a Maryland jury found illegal alien Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez guilty of murdering Rachel Morin in August of 2023. She was a 37-year-old mother of 5 who was jogging in an otherwise safe community northeast of Baltimore when this monster ambushed, strangled, and beat her to death before stuffing her brutalized body in a tunnel drain. The Morin family finally got justice yesterday, but they will never get Rachel back. Our hearts go out to Rachel's family, her 5 children, and her mother, Patty, who has suffered the unimaginable loss of her daughter.
Yeah, so apparently the Democrats are more concerned about illegal alien gangbangers staying in the country rather than the people that are their own residents of their states who were brutally attacked, were murdered, victims of crime from illegal aliens that never should have been here in the first place. It's crazy. It's hard to believe this is actually reality here. Okay, accused MS-13 member that Cory Booker and other elected Democrats are demanding was the guy accused of assaulting his wife. But gets so much worse with the human trafficking. There's a great article here from Paul Joseph Watson. Well, getting into all the angles here. There's no doubt they get the wrong guy. It's not the heroic Maryland father. Let's see.
More than happy to hear the congressman say they're all going to El Salvador. I think for Republicans, this just confirms what we have believed about the Democratic Party and why it currently has a 21% approval rating in Congress. Look where the energy in the Democratic Party is. It's around retrieving illegal aliens from El Salvador. It's around fighting for these college campuses that have been rife with anti-Semitism. It's around biological males who want to play in girls' sports. This is why they are losing to Donald Trump every day, because the energy that Democrats feel comes on all these issues that are fundamentally not where the American people are.
Yeah. It just continues to get worse for the Democrats. They need a win, but they keep picking the wrong side on every issue. Just another spectacular failure. Okay. Well, let's see. Yeah, Leavitt's it's been great. Really is. Yeah, made fun of Biden. Of course, yeah, the media covered up his cognitive decline, and he was out. Yeah, he didn't handle himself well when he was out on those late night appearances. I wouldn't even call them late nights, but not like Trump, where it's like Trump's like it works like 20 hours a day. Biden slept 20 hours a day. Very different. Yeah, priorities are all effed up. Certainly. It's not, and it's all being exposed. And it's just one failure after another. But they've done it to themselves. So they got a major crisis right now. Their approval ratings have plummeted. And they have no direction. But gets worse. We got another story. Another big failure. Got Letitia James, who was trying to really go after Trump. Now we're finding out. It looks like she was involved in perhaps real estate fraud, mortgage fraud, what have you. So a criminal referral against New York Attorney General Letitia James has been filed with the Department of Justice, alleging she had falsified records to get home loans for a Virginia property that she claimed was her principal residence in 2023, which seems odd because how would you do that if you're in New York State? And she's so Federal Housing Finance Agency Director William Pulte sent the missive to Attorney GM Bondi and Deputy AG Todd Blanche, claiming in August 2023, this was just weeks before she launched her own civil fraud trial against the Trump Organization for inflating the values of its properties. So isn't that amazing? She went after Trump. This is all their big lawfare push, trying to get Trump, get him charged with felonies or what have you, trying to destroy his presidential run for inflating value of property because he's a real estate mogul. And it turns out she herself, multiple times, is involved in real estate or mortgage fraud. Isn't that interesting? So she also, not in addition to the Virginia one, she also purchased a 5-family Brooklyn property and has consistently misrepresented the same property as only having 4 units in her building permit applications. And that has changed. So she called it a four unit. And that's how the way that works is it actually saves thousands of dollars because you'd have to, with the way that they set these up for the permit applications versus if it's a 4-family unit or a 5-family unit, and it's affected her mortgage interest rate by as much as 1%, which also amounts to potentially thousands of dollars over a year. So documents from the New York City Department of Buildings show a pattern of inconsistencies about a Brooklyn property she owns and gave her mysteriously received special treatment. And I guess it's also back from 1983 and back in 2000. This is going on a long time about the validity of her James representations on mortgage applications. That James had purchased another property with her father as a co-signer, but falsely listed the pair as husband and wife. Also that she changed her name on one of the documents, just changed a letter, but that she could be charged with wire fraud, mail fraud, bank fraud, and making false statements to a financial institution. Yeah, so she seems to know quite a bit about real estate fraud, which is why it made her such an effective weapon to perhaps go after Trump with. But it was all deception and all projection. So, trying to find out where I saw. There's a significant, there's a 5-unit building that falls under stricter safety mandates, such as additional fire protection measures, New York zoning classification, but then they placed it under a different classification, circumventing stricter requirements, which would have cost a lot of extra money. So she knew exactly what she was doing. Very interesting. We'll let the experts dig into that. And I wouldn't even be that outraged about it if she hadn't been going after Trump for all of that stuff, which just paints her as a massive hypocrite. So, not good, but the poetic justice of it all. Isn't that funny? And the same with the forget the other case with Fannie Willis. Man, all of these things are blowing up right in their faces. All the things they went after Trump for, and it turns out they're all seem to be criminals. It's wild how that works. Well, we'll see how she tries to squirm her way out of it, but it's not looking good for her. But again, it's one of those things. They did it to themselves. Yes, new evidence against the AG, Letitia, and her fishy Virginia foreclosure purchase. A lot of breaking news. Yeah, she misspelled her name as Letitia to make it harder to track. And that she did that while she was on the New York City Council. Yeah, there's a lot to dig in through. So, because I am not a legal expert, I'm not a real estate guy. All I know is that from all the information that I've seen, she appears to be in big trouble. And meanwhile, it's like she knows all of that stuff, but then she's got the audacity to try to target Trump for misrepresenting the value of some of his real estate holdings. Wild. Okay, well, I think that's all I've got on the victims. So this is it. Several stories about victims and vaccinations. Well, you've seen them. Okay, so maybe it's time to switch subjects. I've got a couple more. And the vaccination one, maybe it's time to dig into that one. We'll switch gears. It's RFK Jr. exposing a chilling new autism reality. That autism rates are exploding. The experts say they're clueless, but Kennedy believes he knows exactly where to look. This is going to be, well, what's the headline here? The headline is Big Pharma is scared. They're terrified of RFK's autism investigation. Yeah, because if they show a link, that is going to be the mother of all scandals. And Big Pharma is going to be in a ridiculous amount of trouble. It's going to destroy the faith in the media and so many of these this pharmaceutical medical industry that we're covering up a potential link. And we're allowing people to vaccinate their children and putting them in potential danger. I don't want to get in trouble, but this is a major issue. I know YouTube will censor, shut down, cut off stream, but hey, this is a major thing going on. Everybody knows about this. I'm not saying there's a direct link. I have no idea. But it seems obvious. There's two things that have increased in the last 40 years. The number of vaccinations has gone up significantly that children take these days, and the number of cases of autism have exploded. Is there a connection? Perhaps. It seems logical on the surface, but they don't want you to look at that. Because if that turns out to be true, it's just going to be beyond devastating. And these places are going to get sued into oblivion. And it's, well, we shall see. So they do not want that coming out. Yes, Big Pharma's trouble might free up, med beds. That would be cool. Look, I hope there's a technology out there that's being suppressed that's going to change everything. Whether they exist or not, or whether they can be created, there's certainly ways that they could improve human health if they really cared. But it seems like they don't. It seems like they're really just trying to dumb everybody down, keep us sick, and keep us under control. Won't get into too many wild conspiracy theories. Maybe I will. Maybe on another occasion. What are they plotting? I seem to think they're kind of trying to thin the herd out because they know that there's going to be major issues coming in the future. Perhaps potential, cataclysms, earth changes. They're not seeming to, it seems like they just don't care. It's like they know civilization is coming to an end and they're just trying to get rid of some of the dead weight before shit hits the fan. But I don't know. But there's a lot of innocent people that are getting caught up in this. Anyway, it's good to see RFK because he's been questioned. He's pro-vaccine, but he's also a skeptic, and that's good. We all have to be, kind of try to give the benefit of the doubt, try to do things that are best for us. But what if it's not? And what if there's a link? And what if these vaccines, are they really necessary, or is it a money grab? Yes, Deb, she's skeptical about the med beds existing, but hopefully some technology will be revealed. Also, there could be some tremendous advances done with AI. I mean, if we did want to create something like that, perhaps the AI would be the way to do that. I don't know. I bet they're suppressing all kinds of things. They don't seem to be trying to help humanity as much as they're more concerned about controlling it and dominating it, keeping themselves in power. I don't know. But we'll jump around. So the autism rates have been soaring, and America's Health Secretary RFK Jr. calls for an environmental toxin investigation. And so it says it's perhaps a preventable crisis level epidemic, attributing the increase to environmental toxins rather than improved diagnosis. So Kennedy took aim at what he termed epidemic deniers, who accept the explanation that better screening and awareness are responsible for the documented rise in autism prevalence. But he's going to unveil a series of new studies to identify precisely what these supposed environmental toxins are. And could they be inside of the vaccines? I don't know. But it's good. We all want to find out, because this is getting out of control. The numbers are off the charts. Nobody denies this. So here's Health Ranger Mike Adams, who's saying he's definitely on board that vaccines cause autism. And just by looking at this, the autism reports from 1970 to 1925, there is no doubt. Where it used to be 1 in 10,000 kids back in 1970, and then maybe 1 in 1,000 in 1995, but now it's up to 1 in 31. I mean, yeah, just full stop on everything. Everything's on the table, including vaccines. But you notice a lot of the big pharma people, that's the last thing they want you looking at. And they'll say they don't know what causes it, but it can't be the vaccines, really. So I'm not buying it. Here's another one. 1 in 31 kids had autism in 2022. That's up from 1 in 36 in 2020. So the numbers just keeps growing. So what's it caused from? How can this should be like where everybody stops and everything's on the table, every theory that's out there. And we find out what's happening, because where does it end? We're going to have 1 in 4 pretty soon. Most of the population are going to be autistic. It's going to be the end of our civilization. And it's 1 in 20 for boys overall, and it's 1 in 12.5 in California. So let's just say for 25 boys that are born in California, 2 of them will have autism. If my numbers check out, if it's 1 in 12.5. That means for every 25, that's 2. 2 out of 25 boys. Insane. And they have some of the strictest vaccine policies in the country. So level of autism amongst 8-year-olds has been steadily increasing for decades without unbiased, real research into the likely causes. Tens of thousands of parents have come forward in recent decades and say they believe vaccines triggered the autism. Because some of them would say, yeah, it was right after whatever round. They get their kid is healthy. They bring them to the doctor. They pump them up full of multiple vaccines. And the next thing you know, something goes wrong. Oh, gee, it might have been when I took him to the doctor and they shoved fucking 6 vaccines into his shoulder. Maybe that's what caused it. Oh, no, it couldn't possibly be that. Anything else but that. Gee, what was it? So everybody's fucking crazy? It's insane. Anyway, I asked Grok about this. So I wanted to get to the bottom of this whole, because a lot of people try to debunk the whole thing by talking about the Amish, because the Amish don't vaccinate their kids. So do they have cases of autism in the Amish population? So I said, hey, Grok, how many Amish people have a verified case of diagnosed autism? And he said, or it said, exact numbers of Amish individuals with verified autism diagnoses are hard to pin down due to limited data and underdiagnosis in these communities. But apparently there was a study back in 2008, 2009, looking at 1,900 Amish children, and they confirmed that 7 cases of autism spectral disorder. So we don't know what part of the spectrum is. Maybe there's a little bit of like Asperger's, or is it like full-blown autism where they're completely just unable to function in life. So they said it's a prevalence of 1 in 271 versus the national rate of 1 in 36, but saying that it's they can't get conclusive evidence. So the Amish population is roughly 380,000, but so there might be 1,400 cases, but it's all speculative. There's no comprehensive, up-to-date data that exists for the Amish population. So I said, is there one specific case that is available and undeniable? That's all I want to see. I want to see, show me one case where some kid has got full-blown autism but never had any vaccines. Can they produce that? I don't know if there is. And maybe it's possible that maybe the mother was vaccinated while she was pregnant, and that could have led to autism. I don't know. So I think it's only fair that we have these studies and find out regardless. It might be the ugly truth. But yeah, big pharma stands to lose billions. And the news media industry, politicians, it's going to be devastating if that turns out to make that connection, which seems like they're absolutely terrified of finding out. Well, we're going to destroy our civilization, or we're just going to have 1 in 10 kids going into the future that are going to be autistic and nobody's allowed to question the science? It's not good. Not good at all. But I went further into this Grok discussion, which he threw out all kinds of data. And I was asking him about the average number of vaccines taken by kids in the 80s versus kids today. He threw out so much data. I just want to say, and of course he keeps saying that he's taking kind of the big pharma thing. Oh, no conclusive evidence shows that this is from vaccines. Okay, so I said, not saying there's a direct link between vaccines and autism. I'm just pointing out that there is a significant increase in the number of mandatory vaccinations and the exploding cases of autism. It should therefore be easy for vaccine skeptics to question whether there is a link. And so let's see where he sums this up. But I think it's something like triple the number. That's what I was trying to just get him to admit. But it says that the vaccine doses, there was about 10 in 1985 that were required, and now it's about 30 in 2025. So if we've got... If kids these days are taking 3 times the number of vaccines, and the rise of autism has gone from 1 in 2,500 to 1 in 36, yeah, it certainly fuels skepticism. But he's saying extensive research attributes the autism rise primarily to diagnostic improvements, not vaccines. So anyway, we go in circles. But again, seems like the most direct link. If not, I'm up for suggestions. Of course, Elizabeth Warren, big pharma shill. I won't share RFK Jr.'s lies about autism. It's disgusting and dangerous. If he had a shred of decency, he would apologize and resign. Oh my God. She's saying, to every kid with autism, I'm in this fight all the way for you. Well, then you should be trying to find out. You should be happy to rule out vaccines. But they're not. They just don't want the investigation, period. Doesn't that seem alarming? I don't know. Maybe I'm taking fucking crazy pills. I don't know. I don't get it, man. I feel like an alien on this planet, and I'm just observing this shit show. I don't understand. I live in a world of logic and reason. And this is not a world of logic and reason. All right. Well, I've got one more issue, one more story. Yeah, Rick. Let's see. Big Pharma is a $400 billion a year business. That's another thing. Yeah, even if there was a med bed, you're absolutely right there, Rick. Even if the med beds existed and they could, with some space age technology, cure people of whatever ills they have, how much money would that cost the pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry? They would never allow that. Just as they wouldn't allow a cure for cancer. They probably have a cure for cancer for all we know. But they make so much money on the chemo and the drugs that they would be putting themselves out of business. It's terrible. It's a business to keep people sick. But on the flip side, it's, they actually use good nutrition for like animals, for livestock, because they got to keep them healthy. But not the case for humans. It's weird how things work. Yeah, Big Pharma is definitely evil. I'd be curious to see this research on nicotine and cholesterol. I know there's been some studies that show that nicotine in some ways could be helpful. But I can say that I smoked for 13 years back in the day. It is highly addictive and nasty stuff. But if there's a flip side and there's a way to use it for good, I'm all about it. Yeah, Deb, absolutely. Just when they imposed COVID shots, not allowed to question the effects. Yeah. Oh, this broadcast would have been pulled immediately if I started questioning COVID. And then I remember just doing these broadcasts with Mike and crew years ago. And anytime we got into this stuff, we'd always have to pull our YouTube video. If it didn't get censored and brought in the middle of the broadcast, we'd have to pull it because we would definitely get strikes. Even after the fact, even months later, they'd come out and take down channel. I lost the channel because of that. And I know Mike's lost one. Several of those, or even Casey Jones when we had her on. So the taboo subjects, you're over the target, and they take you down. So yeah, just like the opposed Doge investigation, yeah, they're gonna go nuts and start retaliating against RFK too. Get too close to the truth, and they know that they're gonna be caught guilty on a massive cover-up. So they're trying to get their constituents to get as outraged as they are. Absolutely right, Rick. It's a business, not a service. It's about profits. It's absolutely, and with the CDC too. Vaccines are money. They make money on these things. It's not because, they really care that we don't want people to get sick. About making them mandatory, making sure everybody gets it, and it costs money for everybody. Oh my God, a friend charged $6,400 a month just for one prescription. It's a racket, man. It is evil industry. Smoking and nicotine use. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you don't want to inhale that shit into your lungs. Nicotine is extremely potent. I think if you have a one drop of pure nicotine and you put it on the back of your hand, it'll kill you. So it's, but it could have some beneficial effects somewhere. It's worth considering everything. Yeah, I haven't talked to Casey in a long time, man. She escaped California and moved to Wyoming, and I haven't seen or heard from her since. Not in a way. She's kind of out there posting pictures for a while, but I haven't seen her on Twitter or social media. Hope she's doing well. She was a nice girl. Yeah, healthy people are not profitable. That is true. It's not good for their business model. Okay, what else do we have? Quick note on the Epstein. Looks like Bondi, perhaps Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice are maybe caught lying. So they're saying they just need more time. The Department of Justice response, which would be illegal to lie, says Bondi doesn't have the Epstein files. So she never did. Maybe. So she says, I thought they were on her desk and there's a big plan and that we just needed to give them more time. They're supposedly on her desk. They released them and, that wasn't they were damning. Then they weren't. And then they gave it to all those influencers. And it was a big spectacle over nothing. And then they went after the FBI, forced them to bring a truckload of evidence, and they just needed time to sort it out and retract the victims, redact. But nothing's happened. And now it seems like they're protecting the perps. They're protecting the blackmailed, the abusers. No one has been prosecuted. And this continues to be a national security risk that somebody's still blackmailing people with security clearances. And it's up to we the people to keep pressure on anything to happen with this. So apparently Tom Fitton, who's a good guy, had filed an Epstein lawsuit April 8th, and the Justice Department sent us a letter that said they had no records from Pam Bondi's office in response to their records requesting her to her office, which was for all records of communication between General AG Bondi and any other individual or entity regarding any lists or other records depicting the identities or clients, associates of Jeffrey Epstein. So it was just 5 days ago that Judicial Watch was suing the Department of Justice and FBI to get the Epstein records. Now they're saying they have no records. What's the deal? And don't forget that Pam Bondi was the Attorney General of Florida and was allegedly obstructing the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, who was also based in Florida and back and forth from Florida to his little pleasure palace in the Bahamas, or was Epstein Island. I'm already forgetting, but out there, as well as New York and so many others. So she's protecting some of the powerful people from getting caught up in this mess, which is another thing. It's one thing going after autism and the vaccine link, if there is one. That's another thing going after how many people are going to get caught up in this blackmail scandal from Epstein. So I don't know if we're going to get we're not getting any closer to getting answers there, and at least not from Pam. It's too bad. Good to see we got some good people trying to go after and get those records out, but it looks like they've been stonewalled. We're not getting our answers. Yeah, reach out to Casey. I thought she's on, my lists here, my Twitter lists, but I haven't seen her in a long time. So hope she's living happily ever after. We'll see if she gets back into activism or not. Oh, perhaps she's living off the grid. Good for them. Not a bad idea. And civilization is going to shit. That probably wouldn't be a bad place to camp out. Things get wild. I don't know. Football, boring. I don't know where that came up. Did I mention football? Excited for football. Oh, the draft is next week. That could be coming up. I'm getting excited about the NBA playoffs this week. All right, but let's go to its final story. That was the final story. I've just got one more. Number of U.S. adults who don't want children has doubled over the past 20 years, study finds. Traumatic cultural shift. Yeah, who does? I don't know, man. I kind of relate to that. I'm glad I don't have children, man. It seems like the civilization is just going to shit. It's getting worse. Might be a failed experiment, or perhaps this is a big spiritual simulation. It's a big test. I don't know. Or that maybe I'm here to try to warn people, try to make a difference, but it doesn't seem to be having any effect anyway. People don't want to listen. People don't want to change their minds. Do I really want to continue this pattern? And kind of thinking, man, if you have kids, then I don't know. Without going into the conspiracy theory angles again, I don't know what's going on. I'm not optimistic about the future coming up. Whether there's cataclysms or whether it's just going to continue devolving in this absurdist dystopia, or whether we get fully taken over by the global elites that seem to be destroying our civilization. It's not looking good. I don't blame people for not wanting to have kids. Join the club. I mean, it's great. It's unfortunate. We've kind of lost our way. This is just no longer the same world that we were in. Where we're kind of, we just had to overthrow the elites, and then we could build our Star Trek civilization. It doesn't seem to be playing out that way. It seems like they're getting ready for shit to hit the fan, and they're building their bunkers. They're going to survive whatever cataclysm is coming, and then they're going to emerge on the other side and take control of whatever's left of humanity. We try to rebuild everything. I don't know. Okay, I must have missed the other message about football. I don't know. Yeah, the draft is coming up in football. I'm excited about it, but it's not for everybody. It's all good. Oh, and Tucker Carlson. Yeah, I know there was a big interview with Alex Jones, probably getting into some of that stuff. It's a lot of interviews I still got to get caught up on. It's a crazy time to be alive, that's for sure. I'm all here for it, man. As an observer, I feel like, man, having kids, I don't want to. After I'm gone, I believe in. I'm not a big religious guy, but I do believe that this is just a temporary human experience, and that we're all spiritual beings. And that by not having kids, maybe I can just I won't have to come back again. If that makes sense. Try to do my part. Try to be a voice of reason. Try to help in this weird time of humanity on this greatest reality show in the galaxy. Just don't know if it's going to work. It's quite an experiment. Been fun to observe. But I think this might be a problem. I don't know. But we'll still make the best of it. Still try to put the truth out there. Perhaps make a difference and find the right people. And have an effect that way. We shall see. And I'll still enjoy my football and basketball and my whatever earthly pleasures I can. And we'll see. See what happens. Yeah, not the organized religion, but happy Easter to everybody out there who does celebrate. Not knocking it. I was born and raised Catholic and went through all of that stuff. And, I can get into the holidays to some extent. It's a little fun. But, anywho. Yeah, try to do good works. Have kids. That would be the dream, right? Just all we got to do is defeat the elites, and we pave the way for America's brighter future. But then when I look around at the leftists, and I look around at these agitators with this Karmelo Anthony thing, I lose my faith. And even when you present people information, they're unlikely to change their minds. They just kind of double down on whatever they believe. That's the most frustrating part of all of it. But yeah, happy Resurrection Day for all that celebrate. And you know what? I even though I'm not religious, I certainly hope that there's Jesus is out there and he comes back and maybe he can make a difference. That we can just turn this whole thing around and have a new golden era, golden age for humanity. But I don't know if that's going to happen. But I hope it does. But anyway, I think that's about all I've got. So actually right on time with the show. Try to keep it under 90 minutes. And thank you guys so much to be here. Great to see you, Rick and Deb. Glad you could make it. And we'll be back next Tuesday to cover whatever new developments are in this crazy shit show. Always fun. So that's all I've got. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And look forward to doing it again another time. We'll agree with you there, Deb. It does seem like if there is a God and there's a big grand plan, the guy survived an assassination attempt, and he's still trying to continue to make America great. And I'm hoping up for that faith. I'm going to, stick around and keep covering this. I can't not look at it. But whether we can save it all, I don't know. But we'll continue to try. It's always fun. All right. Thank you so much, Rick, Deb, everybody. Have a good one. Please like and subscribe, and we'll do it again next time. Happy Easter and all that good stuff. Love you guys, and see you next time. That's all I have for today, and that's it. All right, cool. Thank you, everybody. I'm out.